The challenges that we confront, sitting right here in the European Parliament in the heart of Europe, it's visceral and it's been laid out very clearly by my fellow panelists. As Sri said at the start, we need to rethink capitalism. What I would like to do is to focus immediately on what are the concrete action implications for a forum like the World Forum for Ethics in Business. What should we do using this platform to address this challenge? And I'd like to propose to you 3 concrete actions, priorities for action, that we can take as a collective using this platform. The first major suggestion for action I have is to position the World Forum for Ethics in Business as a key global platform for raising awareness and sharing experiences around a new paradigm for capitalism that is infused with ethics and a social purpose. And let me explain what I mean by that. We are talking about rethinking capitalism, but what concretely does that mean? We know that the capitalist system is at siege, as my fellow panelists have described. Businesses today are seen as a major cause of the global financial crisis, but not just that, they're seen as a major cause of social and environmental problems, including civil wars in Africa in the misuse of extractive resources, for instance. Why is this? This is because we have been trapped in a traditional capitalist model that views that businesses should only focus on maximizing short-term profits and ignore major societal problems. What we have done is we have created a false dichotomy where firms focus on short-term profit maximization, and this has been fueled by economists like me, and the governments have to focus on solving social problems. And then we have this thing called corporate social responsibility, which, to be provocative and blunt, has become an add-on, peripheral thing that firms do to address reputational issues, and social value is not at the core. How do we change this? We would change this by having a new paradigm for capitalism where firms produce economic value by addressing social problems. That is the notion of shared value. And if for those of you who haven't read it, I would recommend that you read Harvard professor Michael Porter's wonderful piece on shared value. And this can be the analytical underpinning of the World Forum for Ethics in Business. And what does that mean? That means that societies are struggling with major problems: unemployment, health, education, housing, environmental degradation. And firms have been manufacturing products ignoring these problems. But what if firms and businesses tackled these problems like environmental degradation, corruption, and in the process generated economic value? That is the notion of shared value. And if we did this, business would legitimize itself and would transform its relationship with society. So that this is not an academic notion, let me give you 3 concrete examples of firms that are doing this, which can be the foundation of rethinking capitalism. So you have Water Health International, which is a fast-growing for-profit company that has today provided clean water to over 1 million of the poorest people in rural India, Ghana, and the Philippines by using low-cost, innovative water purification technology through which they are generating profits because they're reaching the bottom of the pyramid, as Prahlad said, C.K. Prahlad, who's the noted scholar on the bottom of the pyramid, while at the same time providing immense health benefits to the poorest of the poor in rural communities. That's example number 1. Example number 1, Hindustan Lever wanted to reach its products to the most remote areas in India. So what did it do? It wanted to also solve a social problem. So it trained 45,000 of the most poor female entrepreneurs in remote villages. It provided them credit and training, and through that, it managed to reach its products in the remote villages. It accomplished profit. It doubled the income of these female entrepreneurs, and it provided health benefits by giving hygienic products. My last example is Yara, which is probably the most major mineral fertilizer company, which realized that infrastructure in Africa was so weak that local farmers couldn't access the fertilizers or couldn't transport the crops. So it forged a partnership with local governments and donors, and it invested its own $60 million in ports and roads to increase connectivity of farmers. So it could transport its products. Farmers' productivity got raised. Both benefited in the process. These examples are capitalism redefined. These are businesses that are generating profits, but by accomplishing a social purpose. We need a lot more of this, and the concrete implication for the World Forum for Ethics in Business, just like we have Davos, which is the World Economic Forum, the World Forum for Ethics in Business, rooted in the prestigious European Parliament, can be the global platform which actually showcases inspirational, practical examples to change this prevailing paradigm that businesses need to be profitable and unethical. We need to show that businesses can be ethical and socially responsible and generate profits. I suggest we do a TEDx right here in the European Parliament and invite most inspirational business leaders who can create a global movement to charge this change in paradigm. That was my first suggestion. I'll be quick on my second two suggestions. The second suggestion I have is let's then take one big problem, or two big problems, maybe three, and really launch a collective action to really make a dent in it. And the challenge I would like to put to you, which is a work stream later so we can actually translate this, is corruption in procurement, in extractives and so on, which is, so today, $9.5 trillion is spent in public-private contracts. I repeat that, $9.5 trillion. And contracting between public and private sectors is rife with corruption. Money is stolen. We have scandals from the awards of security contracts in London Olympic Games to the award of telecoms in India. You have lots of problems, and it's fueling conflict in extractive industries. So what can we do? We have launched, and that's the purpose of the work stream today, an initiative in Johannesburg last month called Open Contracting, where we need disclosure of the terms of the contracts by government and the private sector, and public monitoring of these terms by civil society, media, and parliaments. We are working in 21 countries, and the subject of this workshop today is to focus on how we can get the private sector, and this we have done with Transparency International, Oxfam, and others. How can we get the private sector more visibly involved in this? We are also looking at open corporates, a way to disclose corporate information more broadly. I would invite us to make this a real deliverable so that we make a dent in corruption in contracting. The last area, and I'll close with this, the third suggestion I have, is that transparency and monitoring is important, but external enforcement is not the whole solution. The World Forum for Ethics in Business is the preeminent voice of values and ethics. We don't need just the external enforcement. We need the intrinsic commitment to do the right thing, as Christoph said, when no one's looking. And the World Forum for Ethics in Business and IHV, which is a key sponsor of this, is really the leader in ethics and values. And through this, I suggest that the third suggestion is we launch an inspirational global curriculum on ethics in leadership and infuse it throughout society, in corporations and so on, work with partners in doing this. We need a combination of external enforcement and leaders who are committed to do the right thing to make change happen. So these are my three major suggestions for concrete action that we can take forward, and with this, we can indeed make the world a better place. Thank you.